All right, it's on like Donkey Kong. We're here today with some friends from New Jersey. Ryan Gibbons, Jay Costa. How are you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good, Jay. How about you?
Man, couldn't be better. Couldn't be better. Living the best day of my life every day here at EXP. So, you made an announcement the other day to join EXP. Really, while during probably one of the, it seems like there's a little bit of a buzz going on in New Jersey right now. A lot of people moving to EXP. What? Tell me a little bit. And you came from Keller Williams, so obviously, there's been quite a few people moving from Keller Williams, not just in Jersey, around the country, but. Tell me the story, man. What got you interested? How long had you been looking at it? What did you see? And tell us, I guess, a little bit about your backstory of your production too. And Ryan, if you want to add anything, always just chip in and anything you want to add or ask Jay.
Yeah. So there must be something in the water for sure around here, because it's been crazy lately. But yeah. So a little background about me. 2018 was like my second year in real estate. It was really the first year that I did any, decent amount of production. I started out at a small company. Wasn't really, there was no training or nothing like that. And the split I was getting was still pretty low, like 60%, something like that. And, Keller Williams came around this area. I was like, oh, hey, they give you 70%. There's a cap, all the training. It's a no-brainer. So I go to Keller Williams like the end of 2016, the first year, 2017. I mostly training, learn how to do the calls, scripts, all that sort of stuff. I didn't do enough production to really notice how much I was paying them or going to be paying them as soon as I got to like a decent level of production. So after this past year, 2018, they send you the tax forms and everything. I'm like, man, I paid them. They took a lot of money. And I felt like I was real busy all year, and I was like, man, that's all I ended up with at the end. So EXP, I heard about for a while before that, probably a good year at least. I was kind of following it from a distance. Always had people kind of, just adding me on Facebook, sending me a message, trying to recruit me a little bit. And I didn't know too much about it. But I would say that probably the number one thing that made the decision for me at the end was the commission, the fees that Keller Williams was taking. And I think that I saw a part of you when you spoke to David DeVoe. He said something I couldn't agree with more. What they were offering in regards to technology and what you were getting, or what you were paying for,
right,
compared to what you were getting back in regards to technology support, everything. It was just it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. So decided to make the move. Only Ryan, maybe like 2 weeks ago, something like that, and it's been awesome.
Right. So how did you two connect as far as in this conversation? And it's funny, I think it's a ongoing theme. This is like, I don't know, maybe my 50th or more of these Facebook lives that I've done, and like it's almost like everyone has heard about it for at least a year before they made the move. It seems like, or a high percentage of people anyway. So what, so maybe you already answered the question is, you're looking at the end of the year, looking at the numbers and how much you paid Keller Williams, and then you started exploring other options, or did somebody catch you kind of at the right time to look at EXP?
No, honestly, I spoke to a couple people, a couple other offices locally, just kind of out of curiosity. But I knew if I was moving, it was going to be the EXP, because I was following it, enough to know what it was about.
Right.
So like I said, if I was moving anywhere, it was going to be the EXP. It originally started, and this kind of ties into the fact of, what Keller Williams provides you or doesn't, or lack thereof. I joined, one of the reasons I joined Keller Williams at the beginning was I thought that their technology was great, in regards to, like an IDX website sort of thing, CRMs, all that sort of stuff. I quickly realized that it wasn't. So I, started, and I'm kind of geeky with that stuff. I get a kick out of it. I immediately started to look into other options, dialers, CRMs, websites, And I started, and I set up a system for myself. I'm an individual agent. It's only me. And I got a system that works for me, but I was paying for it.
Right.
So one of the first reasons was I still do have it for now, a website through another company that I had to pay for separately. So it started out with EXP. I saw that they had, they offered KV Core as part of the,
Right.
being joining. So I was like, man, if I could save the, $300 or whatever a month, that would, that's a lot of money at the end of the year.
Right.
And it started at that. And the more I learned about EXP with the virtual world and all this sort of thing, that became like not even secondary. That's like way down the list because there's so many other positives. It basically, honestly, I always kind of liked the structure, the commission structure that Keller Williams had. That everyone kind of gets the same split and there's a cap and all that sort of thing. I don't really like it. A lot of the local brokerages around here, you kind of, I'm assuming anywhere actually, you can go in and kind of depending on your production, you could say, give me 90%, 80%, whatever. I didn't like that. I like everyone kind of doing the same, having the same structure and going from there. So it takes everything, EXP takes everything that's good about Keller Williams and makes it better. It's really, in my opinion.
That's fair. And so what was, let me ask you this, what was your cap before at KW?
So it goes by which market center you're in. I was in Fort Lee, New Jersey, which is, where the George Washington Bridge is, right on the other side of Manhattan. So, pretty high priced stuff. And the cap when I started 2-3 years ago, whatever it was 32,000.
Wow.
Plus the 3,000 franchise fee.
Right.
And then when I didn't even realize because I didn't cap that first year, and then the second year, I looked, it was 30 up to 37, so 40 grand altogether. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And you probably had desk fees on top of that too, right, Jay?
Not desk fees. They charge you monthly. I think it's $65 a month plus some other stuff. But
yeah. So it's a little
so that 40 grand compared to 16 is a good chunk of change at the end of the day. And that's just based off of the same, the same production that I did last year.
So if I'm doing the math right here, that's the 24,000 difference in cap. Your fee structure might have been close to the same because you got the $50 a month you're paying for.
Yeah, that's about the same.
And then potentially, saving $3,600 a year on a website, independent website. Once you kind of decide if you're going to run full bore with KV Core, and if that's not necessary, so that's like $27,600 savings. Just making the move, right? Like that's like right back in your pocket. That's
a lot of boat fuel, my friend, for sure.
Yeah, no, we were talking offline. Me and Mike's story starts, at Lake Texoma, where we run into each other years after we kind of knew each other back in our college days, what little bit of college that we attended. And so we both ended up having, 35-foot fountains. And I actually did see on your Facebook, I saw your Scarab. Big. How big is that thing? It was beautiful.
38, too big.
38-foot Scarab. Yeah. You need some gas money, man. That's probably going to keep you going through the summer there. So yeah, no, so that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, just so mathematically, this was an easy decision as you grow your business. There's no reason to pay money somewhere if you don't have to, especially if the value's not there. So what were the other parts of the model that helped kind of justify the math here and you making the move?
Well, I would say probably, if I had to guess, I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, the number one factor for someone maybe not wanting to make the move to EXP would be that there isn't any physical office really.
Right.
I could see that being a factor for people for sure. For me, it wasn't at all. When I just started, it was good to go into a physical office to get started, to learn, for the training, all that sort of stuff. But Keller Williams, they tend for what it wasn't a big office. When I joined, there was maybe like 100 agents in this office. and it got up to 150, and then 180, and then 220. And I think when I left, there was just under 300 agents there in this small office. So I stopped going to the office almost completely. I kind of just, it was annoying. There was too many people, too many new agents. I like to make my calls from home anyway. I like to work. I'm better working from home anyway. So that was a non-factor at all. And I could see that being like, you probably deal with it more than me, like new recruits at EXP. That's probably the number one, thing that they would say no to.
Right.
Yeah. When my mom and I joined, we were with Remax I was there for about 6 years, my mom for 21 years. And that was her biggest sticking point. She was one of those people that always wanted to go to the office and, get the coffee and just mingle with people and be around other people. And that was her big stumbling block, And then once we looked at that model and said, wait a minute, we've got a good split. We've got revenue share. We've got all these other opportunities. And it just made so much sense. And, I work from home. This is my home office. I'm in here. Once you look at the financials, that kind of stuff goes by the wayside. You can always and be in
me and Ryan have a lot of stuff in common, which is actually how we connected in the first place. I think, like I said, I knew about EXP for a while now, long before I even met Ryan. I had people reach out to him. Reach out to me about EXP, but nothing against anyone else. But they were, from other parts of the country. I didn't know them from anybody, so I basically, honestly, just Googled, EXP Realty, Bergen County, New Jersey, and Ryan's name popped up. I pulled him up on Facebook. I saw we went to the same high school. It's a small Catholic high school in Oradell, New Jersey. And then, he was mentioning his mom. I met her last weekend. My mother was in real estate, for a long time also. And that was one of her things too. It's like kind of, still that old school mentality, which there's a lot of positives too, but that you need to go into an office and all that sort of thing. And there's probably some validity to it when you're starting out. I think going to an office for me early on was good. But once you hit a certain point, I was going in and it was just like people coming up, saying hello, dealing with mortgage brokers coming up to you all the time. You didn't have to deal with that stuff anymore. It really became more of a nuisance than anything, to be honest with you.
Right. Can a lot of ways it can be a distraction when you know what your goals are and what your daily activities need to be. So,
it took away. Like I said, I do a lot of calls. A lot of calls, expired, and just follow up. Any time that I'm not on the phone, I see as wasted time almost.
Right.
As weird as that sounds. It just didn't make any sense for me anymore. And plus, the thing too about sorry to interrupt you, but the other thing too about Keller Williams, I was never a huge fan of the culture there. I did the bold training or whatever, and it served some sort of purpose to let me know that I got to make calls and follow up and stuff. But the culture there was it was not my cup of tea. It never was. The whole rah thing. I didn't like it. I didn't jive with it at all. So it didn't take much for me to leave. It was really more so just wanting to change, wanting a new challenge, and I couldn't be happier at this point.
So there's two or three things that most people tend to talk about. They get excited about the stock and the rev share and the alignment with some top agents and stuff like that. Those are three. So I just want to point out because if I'm going to ask you about it, and if it is something that you valued obviously or helped with the decision, but at this point everything we've talked about has been not about revenue share, not about stock and opportunity. It's been about just how you want to do business and how EXP was just a better fit for the value that they create and the split structure and everything else compared to where you were at, which I think is almost kind of always the apples to apples comparison. You kind of start there. It's usually a better deal just to be at EXP no matter what, which in your case it certainly was by a long shot. But how much did those things weigh in at all, or if at all, in terms of your decision to join EXP?
The stock stuff, not so much. That's just icing on the cake, to be honest with you. The revenue share, A little bit, because obviously Keller Williams has something similar with the profit share. I don't. My number one goal is to buy, to sell houses, not to recruit. But that being said, with Keller Williams, it was. I didn't take any time. I didn't spend any time on trying to recruit people to Keller Williams, because there's a trillion of them already. They already know 18 other people at Keller Williams. It was a waste of time. So I didn't really consider it too much in regards to before switching over, but it's definitely something that I'm going to be more focused on at EXP, because I'm getting in, a little bit more, or a lot more, at the ground level, so to speak. I know he's not on the ground. They've grown a lot even before I'm here, but Keller Williams, it was, like I said, there were over 300 agents in my office. There wasn't much recruiting opportunities.
That's a great perspective, and one that we haven't really talked about before. But part of the reason, obviously, at Keller Williams, you weren't focused on the profit sharing opportunity, is because it appeared, with 300 plus agents, that was an uphill battle, because there were so many agents already at Keller Williams. Whereas here at EXP, we're really ground floor, starting to make a tremendous amount of leeway there in New Jersey, across all of New Jersey, as far as adding on agents every day. But you see that as more of an opportunity that you might actually pursue. So that's very, very, very good stuff. Very good stuff.
Yeah. Just chime in here for a second. I mean, I even see it because we are so new here. We have about 300 agents with EXP in the state, that now, as you're meeting agents, they're curious about it, especially with some of the announcements that have been made recently, and our numbers in the state have grown a lot. I don't even think you need to recruit so much in our area, because people are curious. They hear, oh, you're with EXP. What is it? They don't know anything about it, which makes it very easy, because I didn't come to be a recruiter, to beat down people's doors either. Yeah. People are coming to you, and you're going to see that a lot, Jay, as you're out there. People are curious about the company. They've heard, a little bit about it, and they want to hear more, and you'll see that as you're interacting more with agents.
100%. I agree. I already, I say EXP Realty, and, more people have heard about it than I thought. But even the ones that didn't, it's just more of a natural conversation. I don't, everyone's, so when I announced I was leaving, I got a few people right off the bat, right from my old office, like, oh, I saw you joined EXP. Tell me about it, whatever. Believe me, if I was coming from, wherever and joining Keller Williams, nobody's calling me, emailing me saying, tell me more about Keller Williams. It ain't happening.
That's a great point, man. And it's so true, man. It really, I have these conversations, with people all across the country, and it's the same thing every time. And what I'm seeing more now, and I would say now being like really probably in the last maybe 60 days, is, the awareness is at an all-time high, but the actual knowledge of the business model is still very, very untapped. And some people think they might know about it, but they don't really have the whole picture, which is why, if you're watching this, this interview today, you should reach out to these two guys and ask them more about the business model. They can share with you video that will kind of go over the business model in depth. We've talked about a lot of little pieces of it, but I think it's financially irresponsible for you not to look at this model in great detail. If that means you need to watch a 30-minute video to look at the business model, then that's what you need to do, because this is a business that you're in here in real estate, and you should be aware of all of your opportunities around you. Or if you're in competition and you're a broker, you have your own brokerage, you should understand what the business model is, because that's what you're going to be competing with, because this is the future of real estate. So, reach out to these guys and definitely ask questions, sit down with them, and ask, why they made this move and what they see in the model, and maybe it might be right for you. So, anything else you guys would want to add to the conversation before we jump off here?
I would say I would just kind of piggyback on what you just said, like that it makes a lot of sense, especially financially. I would say even mostly in these big markets, like where I'm at, or you step further in New York City, or I'm sure San Francisco, LA, whatever, these big markets where the you're selling more price wise, having that same cap everywhere with EXP. I mean, I just told you the cap that I had. That's it's like, that's a big raise right off the bat. Even if I just do the same amount of business as I did last year, that's a huge increase in what I'm going to get at the end of the year. Huge. Right. And I would assume that the biggest difference is going to be in the big market areas, tri-state area and West Coast and Northeast and all that sort of thing, I would think.
Yep, absolutely. Definitely an opportunity. I mean, you're talking about enough to pay for a house payment and a car payment and, make a pretty big dent in your monthly expenses just by being at EXP. So it's definitely worthy of investigating. So, yeah, so that's it, guys. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, just, Jay, welcome to the company. We're very happy to have you here. Like Jay Kinder had said, if you have any questions about it, just send Jay a DM, on Facebook or reach out. There's a lot to this company that people just don't understand. And especially in Bergen County, I mean, what were we talking? $27,000 difference, in your cap and your fees. It's definitely something you need to look into,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Happy to talk to you about it. Share the webinar and give you as much info as we can. Help you out.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Welcome aboard, Jay, and I look forward to maybe getting those boats together at some point.
I bet yours is faster than mine. I guarantee it.
Well, yeah, there's always something to be done to work on them, and there's always someone faster. So I ain't ever trying to be the fastest.
It handles the waves well, though.
There you go. Nice. All right, guys. Y'all have a great day.
All right. See you again.
Thanks, guys.